Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fulfillionaire's File, and it's another inspiring episode. I can promise you, this is the show where we explore the stories behind people who are not just building wealth, they are building meaning, impact, and purpose. Because here on Fulfillionaire's File, we believe something very important. Success is not just about financial prosperity, it's about living a life that is aligned with your values, your family, and your vision. And today's story is exactly that. Our guest today represents resilience, reinvention, and what happens when two people decide that a crisis will not define their future. Before their company ever existed, life threw them one of the toughest financial storms any family can face, the Great Recession. And work disappeared, income stopped, and yet life has just brought them something beautiful, a newborn baby. And in that moment, they faced many families fear most uncertainty about the future. But instead of giving up, they rebuilt their lives step by step. Today, they run Egmer Marketing, helping businesses grow through strategy, technology, accessibility, and authentic communication. And the most beautiful part, their company name comes from something incredibly special, a moment with their 4-year-old son who proudly created his own business name, that name, Egmer, which is actually how a 4-year-old spelled engineer. And that moment became a symbol of creativity, courage, and possibility. And today, that spirit drives the company they built. Please join me in welcoming Melissa O'Neill, co-founder of Egmer Marketing. Melissa, welcome to Fulfillionaire's File.
Hey, Victoria, thanks for the amazing introduction. And
It,
I'm excited to be here today.
you have an
I,
amazing story.
well, thank you. And it's true. We did lose everything during the Great Recession,
Oh,
right when we had our son. Um, and the name of our business did come from him at four, trying to spell engineer, which came out as Egmer. So when we launched our marketing agency and we were trying to figure out what should we name it? And all of a sudden I was like, Egmer. It has to be Egmer. And why? Because obviously it has memories for the family. It has meaning for us because that was his
oh,
little entrepreneur spirit as a child, but also that heart of a child that they can do anything, that they can be anything. They don't really care what anybody else thinks. They're going to do what they want to be when they grow up, right? And I think a lot of times in life that we can let what we think other people might think about what we're doing or other people's judgments stop us from being who we are meant to be or who we want to be because we're worried about other people. And so
yeah.
that's a little bit of the heart behind Egmer. Like, who cares what other people think? You be you and you do what you're called to do and do it to its fullest.
I
And
love that.
yeah. So, and then in terms of, so a little bit about me, I'm actually,
Mhm.
after the Great Recession hit, I went back to school. My husband went back to school. He's a data scientist. I don't speak that language. That's foreign to me. I'm actually an occupational therapist by trade. And so,
Mhm.
where that accessibility piece that you pulled in comes into our business is that I have a huge passion for the people with all abilities should be able to use platforms, right? So our physical world is supposed to be accessible to people of all different abilities. 1 in 4 people have some sort of differing ability or disability. I like to say differing ability.
Mhm.
So 1 in 4 people have that. The physical world is mostly accessible to them, not always, but it's supposed to be. The online space, that's not really a goal. There hasn't been a focus on making the online space more accessible to people with dyslexia or visual impairments or blind or motor impairments. And so that's I would say the heart behind our business is that piece, working that every single custom coded website that we do is done with an accessibility focus. We're trying to make it to where those people, the 1 in 4 people, can access the virtual space. Because if somebody lands on your website and they have a visual impairment and they can't access it, they're gone. You've lost that
Mm-hmm.
client. Or if they land on your website and they have a motor impairment and they can't access it, they're gone because it wasn't accessible to them. So that's kind of the heart of our business is that aspect, that accessibility piece. But then all the other things that go with marketing that keep your business going around and running as well. So
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that honestly. And as a financial educator, I see many families experience financial shock. But what is powerful about your story is how you turn that moment of fear into a rebuilding process.
yep,
There's a clarity that comes when life pushes us to the edge. And sometimes that clarity becomes the foundation of a completely new life. That's an
for sure.
amazing story.
And it was when you just have your first child, you don't imagine that you're going to lose everything. And it became that we're going to build a better future for our family. We're not, we lived on the poverty level for the first 3 years of his life because we were rebuilding and starting over from scratch, went from highly successful to nothing, which was
Yeah.
definitely a journey that you don't want to go through in the first place, but you also don't want to go through it when you just had brought your first child into your world. And so my husband and I, Tyler, it was the whole thing was how do we build a better future for him? Like who even cares about us, honestly? We
Yeah.
want to build a future for him. We want to show him, what it looks like to go from, well, he didn't know when we had stuff, but to go from nothing to working hard to create something. And it's always still a learning journey. I feel like you can always learn something about, better investments or taking care of your family better financially. And I feel like that's where people like you come into play, where it's really important to learn from people who that's their expertise and guidance.
Right, right. And what I find fascinating about your story is that both of you chose to reinvent yourselves professionally. You went back to school and became an occupational therapist. Tyler moved into engineering and technology, two completely different fields. Tell us about that transition. What motivated you to pursue healthcare? And how did those experiences shape the way you understand people today?
Yeah. So when I started back to school, originally it was, I want to show my son what it means to work hard and do something, accomplish a goal, and build a better future, right? So I was working through my bachelor's degree, and all through my bachelor's degree, I'm like, okay, when I get done with this, I want to get a master's degree, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do next. And so I was talking with the counselor at school, at college, and at one point she said, because I talked about doing nursing or PT, like physical therapy, all these things. And then she said, what about occupational therapy? And I was like,
Mhm.
I never really thought about it. And for me, I've always had like we've been coaches for Special Olympics for a lot of years, and I've always had a passion for people who have differing abilities. As a child, I was the one who was the friend to the visually impaired kid in school, and I was always his partner in class and always helped him because I was always drawn to that. I was always drawn to helping other people with different abilities and not looking down on them or thinking of them as different because they're just the same as us. They just have something that they're working through that maybe all of us aren't working through, like visual impairment, whatever it might be. And so I was always drawn to that. And when she mentioned occupational therapy,
Yeah.
I I couldn't help but go that route. And now it looks different for me. Using it within the marketing space. It's not a traditional thing that you see occupational therapy used in, but it's something that I feel passionate about to make a larger impact in.
Wow. Many businesses claim to understand small business owners, but your story shows you live that reality. So, how has experiencing financial uncertainty influenced the way you serve your clients today?
I feel like it helps me listen better, to truly see where they're at and what they need, what their goals are, and figure out a starting point
Right.
versus I'm just going to push this stuff on you because maybe this is where we need to go at some point, but we need to figure out where the client is and where we need to start. So a lot
Right.
of people will think of, even life or marketing as the straight line, like you need to do this, this, and you work through it like this. We look at it as more of a circle. Like, where are you right now? And what's the best next step we can take into that circle to continue to build your business? And sometimes that for clients is a more simple, low entry point that we work on to help them continue to build their success. And then we can take that next step to build their success more. So for us, coming from extreme financial struggles of losing it all, um, we have a big heart to not push things on people that they don't need or they're not ready for. So
Right.
eventually they might need it, but they're maybe not ready for it right now. So that truly is that listening aspect. You have to listen to your clients. You have to hear what they've tried and where they want to go.
Wow. So you now travel full time across the country while running your business and supporting your son's national mountain biking journey.
Mhm.
Wow. How has this lifestyle influenced your creativity, perspective, and connection to the businesses you work with?
I would say first off, it this lifestyle requires a balance because it's not the normal, sitting in the same place doing the same thing. So I feel like it makes us a little more flexible to be able to think outside of the box, to be able to adapt more quickly to what is happening or what a client's needs might be, because we're used to that spontaneity, that adaptability, the ever changing. Like right now, we spend most of our winters in Arizona. It's a place we're
Mm-hmm.
considering calling home because we absolutely love it there. We've been to 48 states. We started traveling
Wow.
when our son was 12 because we're from Kansas, but we didn't really like Kansas. It didn't fit our son's a mountain biker. It didn't fit our adventurous lifestyle, and so we set out on that adventure. And but now during that from now we're in Arkansas right now for a mountain bike race. From now until
Oh,
the end of July, beginning of August, we'll be all over the country for racing. And so we get to meet different people that we get to serve and
right.
help. We get to connect with people that end up becoming partners that we can work with, that we can refer to. It's kind of becoming a good community and networking. We value networking so much and getting to know people, not just so they can be our clients, but also so that we can provide other people with clients and referrals and connect and support one another.
Yeah, that's awesome. All because of Egmer. All because
Mm,
of your son, your 4-year-old son,
yep,
who
his,
thought about
his little.
this amazing, idea, and look where you are now. So, accessibility and how do you pronounce this? WCAG, WCAG focused web design are a major part of your work. Why is accessibility so important to you, and how does it impact both businesses and the communities
I
you
would say
serve?
for me, it comes from even from childhood, feeling passionate about connecting with those kids in class who had different
Yeah.
abilities, even into adulthood, and being an occupational therapist and coaching with Special Olympics. I see how people within that, the 1 in 4 people in that space that have a different ability, how they're not being thought of and they're not being served. And so that's where we're standing out to be different in doing that accessibility focus in everything that we do, because we want to serve that 1 in 4 as well.
Mhm,
And we
mhm.
want our clients that we're working with to be able to serve that 1 in 4 people as well. So even thinking of our clients, like if we build you something with an accessibility focus, you're more likely to be able to reach an additional 1 in 4 people of the population, right? Because your
Mhm.
website is more accessible to people with differing abilities.
Wow. And your company name Egmer comes from a 4-year-old's version of the word engineer. What does that moment represent for you today as entrepreneurs and parents?
I really think even for us right now, with our son is 16, that is showing him because he watches. Kids learn through watching. They leading by example. You can
Yeah,
say all these things, but truly showing them and leading by example, that's how they learn. So I feel like that's where we're at right now. He's watching and he's learning, and he'll say things like, wow, Mama, I've seen how you've gotten so much better at this, or that's really cool that you did this, or what if you tried this? And he'll give us advice. And so it goes from like congratulating us to having these deep conversations of like, what could we add to the business, to walking through like, what if you did this differently next time, at 16. So I feel like it's a really great journey for him to watch as well. And especially being in a small space, he sees a lot of what happens and he hears a lot of conversations about, development and things that are going on and the importance of things. And so he's able to provide his feedback. And it's just as much his business as it is ours. Like,
definitely.
that's the goal, is for it to be something,
Yeah.
if he wants to, that he can take into life and he can build onto it and add parts that he loves, or it can eventually just become his thing if he would like. And we asked him when we started, like when we officially launched our business, do you care if we name it Egmer? And he's like, no, I feel like we should. And so it's our whole family thing. And our dog, I don't know if you our dog is our logo.
Yeah,
So
I've
she
seen
she
that. That's
actually rides in her backpack with her goggles on.
cool.
We ride bike,
Yeah.
and she loves it. And the
Oh,
reason why we went with that, obviously, a dog and marketing, I'm not really sure how that goes together, but for us, it works because, like I said earlier, that the childhood mindset that goes with our name, but also the logo, it's pulling her in. She brings people so much joy. You can be on a bike ride and go by somebody who just is so serious and solemn, and they just light up. It just makes them so happy to see her with her ears blowing in the wind, and she's happy as could be. And so she brings people so much joy, and that's another aspect we wanted to bring into our business. We want people to feel that joy, that excitement about their business, and that's kind of what our
that's,
dog logo is,
yeah.
that kind of like back end aspect of our marketing to us through our services, bringing people that excitement and that joy and that just love for what they're doing into their business.
But I like your concept because you don't go with the flow. You don't go with what society expects of you. Like, oh, I have to come up with the name of my business that, you just came up with Egmer and then you had this logo of your beloved dog. So this is amazing because this is where creativity and this is where your independence stands out because you believe in it and there is this attachment that's why you do it, right? Who cares? And I love the way you said, who cares what people say? Everyone will judge you for, and then if you just listen to them, then that's not you've lost
Yeah.
your identity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which that's what I think we always tell people, pull your story into who you are, that the life of who you are. You don't, we can spend our time looking at other, yes, I think it's good to look at other people who are successful and have done
Hmm.
great things, and we can use them as a guide to say like, okay, they did this, this, and this, and it was really successful for them, and we can kind of copy those things and learn from people. But to
Hmm.
just try to copy somebody's business as a whole and be just like them, that doesn't
Yeah.
work. We have to be us. We have to do things in the way that we work to be
Yeah.
true to ourselves. If we're
Yeah.
not being true to ourselves, the passion, the our abilities aren't going to shine through in our business because we're trying to be, like if I was trying to be you, I'd be spending all my time trying to be you, and it'd be more work than me just trying to be me. And
Yeah.
so that's what I we feel so strongly about, is just be you. Learn from other people, but keep you in the business.
I love that. And for small business owners who feel overwhelmed by marketing or feel like their work isn't being seen, what's the first mindset shift or practical step you recommend they take?
The mindset shift, I would say, is focusing on the good things and not that I can't, or I'm not good enough. Get rid of those I can't or those negative mindsets and be like, I am good enough. This is who I am. This is what I love. And so focusing on the positive. In terms of the marketing aspect, the first step we really always recommend is stepping back and looking at your content. Is it clear what you're offering? Do you have clarity? If people are landing on your website, do they know within the first 3 seconds, like, what are you offering? How can they use it? What's their next step? And so having that clarity, maximize your Google My Business profile. It's a great
Yeah.
tool. So those are kind of some simple steps that we always recommend to each, like everybody, that if they're not working with us at this point or whatever it might be, you have to have clarity. People need to know right away, like, oh my goodness, they can help me with this. I need this. This is what I need to do.
That's incredibly valuable advice because growth doesn't always require complexity.
Mm-hmm.
It begins, as you said, with clarity.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, in case the viewers would like to directly get in touch with you, would you like to share your contact details?
Yeah. So they can go over to www.egmermarketing.com. That's EGMER marketing.com. And there's also a way to connect with us there. But you can also email us at info@egmermarketing.com as well and get in touch with us. We have our social media as well. If they want to connect there, Instagram is Egmer Marketing and Facebook is also Egmer Marketing. I think it's Egmer Marketing LLC, if they just want to connect with us there too. So
Amazing. I'm just curious, what's the name of your son?
Kipton, it's Kypton. Yeah,
Oh, so say hi to Kipton. I think
will do.
he has started a long legacy, and nobody will ever forget Egmer Marketing. So,
Yes,
Melissa, thank you for sharing your story so openly today and with so much passion. I love that. Your journey reminds us of something powerful. A crisis can either close a chapter or it can become the beginning of a new story.
so true.
You and Tyler chose to rebuild. You chose to combine your skills. You chose to create a life that prioritizes family, purpose, and meaningful work. And today, through Egmer Marketing, you are helping other entrepreneurs build businesses that last. And so, would you like to say something to our viewers before we say goodbye?
Oh, sure. I would say just be you. Be
Yeah.
true to who you are, really, honestly, and don't let those negative thoughts creep in and stop you from reaching your goals.
Yeah, so thank you. So, to our viewers, if today's conversation inspired you, remember this: financial success alone does not define a fulfilling life. True fulfillment comes when you and your values, purpose, and prosperity move in the same direction. And that is the essence of being a fulfillionaire. Thank you for joining us on Fulfillionaire's File. And until our next episode, thank you again, Melissa. Continue building your life with courage, clarity, and purpose. Good
Thank you.
morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone, and see you again. Bye bye.